Hey, welcome to today's broadcast. And the message today is actually a really simple one, but I think the lesson here is one that God has been showing me lately and has really been a deep place in my heart. And it's living in the obvious. So, not necessarily the place where you're comfortable, but for me, God can speak to me in, unusual and creative and deep places, but that doesn't mean the same experience is what someone else is having. And so God spoke to me the other day and he said, "Look at John 3:16." Well, now for me, that was a pretty familiar experience, I thought. And I said, "Well, okay." I got my Bible out immediately to obey. And I looked up John 3:16, and I kind of knew what John 3:16 would say. But I knew if God was sending me again to John 3:16 that there was something else he wanted to show me. And indeed, when I got there to study and I looked it up, I would backtrack, to look for context because I knew, God, you're sending me to this and you want to show me something new, something different. So I went back a few verses, I went forward a few verses, I backtracked all the way up to the top of the chapter. And the title says something I totally did not expect. Nicodemus. So if you had told me John 3:16 before, the last thing that would have come to my mind was the story of Nicodemus, because it was a typical faith and salvation scripture. So the obvious for me would have been God was taking me there to show me about his salvation. And that was not what God wanted to show me that day. He just wanted me to go there, and he knew that I would backtrack and forward track and study and get in the word with him, and I did. But he also knew he actually had something fresh and something new to show me in that same scripture. So I encourage you that when God speaks to you to do something, even if it's something that's familiar, even if it's something that you've done time and time again, even if it's something that you've heard or done all of your life, I'm just encouraging you today to live outside of the obvious, the familiar, the comfortable, and know that God can take you to a new dimension in something. Even when you questioning in your mind, you can't out question God. He just knows everything. And so this is a word of encouragement for someone today. Someone who has been, maybe stuck in a place and God is trying to do something new with you. And guess what? He can use even what is seemingly so familiar to you to do a new thing. So my encouragement for you is this is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. And he does have something new for you, even in today. So I'd like to leave you with an encouragement. Make a difference in somebody else's life today. Yep, today, the same day that you would go along in your same daily routine, doing the same things that you always do if you're consistent like that, or taking variety if you're a kind of person that has to have variety in your life. But make a difference. Today is the day you make a difference in someone else's life. So that's my exhortation to you today, while I also exhort you to not be so certain that God cannot use something that is so seemingly familiar to you. So anyway, be a blessing to somebody, be an encouragement to someone. God has called you to make a difference today. Now, for someone, that may save somebody's life. That might be a word of counsel that they need. They may need to come into the kingdom today. They may need prayer for surgery they're having tomorrow. You may be the one to bring healing into their pathway. You could speak a word that encourages their soul. But whatever it is, you could do a kind deed today. But whatever you do something different today, even if it is in the midst of something familiar. All right, see you on our next broadcast. And I know it's a simple word. I'll probably get more messages back from you today on this simple word than I get even on some of the deeper words, because that is the kind of response I've been getting lately. That's why I'm encouraging you to move outside of the things that seem so obvious and so familiar. because just because it's so obvious and so familiar to you doesn't mean it's not brand new to someone else. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.